We live in a time where we, as fans, are treated to 24 races, 6 sprint races and a wide coverage on many different platforms to enjoy our sport. We currently have a 7-time, a 4-time and a 2-time world champion on the grid and a host of race winners. We are about to embark on one of the closest and best seasons ever, and still, certain people who call themselves fans find it necessary to be toxic and obnoxious. This specific group doesn't deserve a great spectacle like Formula 1 is. I'm Wimbo. Here's 3 seconds to leave a like. By now, I think you can guess what compelled me to write and record this video. It's obviously because of what happened in the O2 Arena in London at the F175 event. In a packed stadium full of people who call themselves Formula 1 fans, they found it necessary to boo the current world champion Max Verstappen. They did the same with Christian Horner, who presented their new car. I've seen videos of drunk people interrupting journalists trying to do a piece on the event, and the toxicity even went to Italy, where a Lewis Hamilton fan cut down a young tree to get a better view of the track. What happened bugs me on many different levels, which I will explain in this video. I've been to many races over the last 8 seasons and I've never encountered anything toxic. Yes, I was sitting next to a few American students traveling to Europe who wanted to see a race, and they booed Max Verstappen a little. I had a conversation with them and it was clear they only knew 2 drivers, Verstappen and Hamilton. Now, I hate the term DTS fan. Drive to Survive is a TV series on Netflix with a little added drama, as I don't care how new fans come into the sport, and we all have a learning curve. It was clear that they were influenced by how that show portrayed Verstappen and Hamilton. So I didn't get too annoyed with them, and Verstappen won the sprint and the race in Austria 2023, so I was happy enough. However, in the O2 Arena, in England's capital city London, you'd expect a higher level of Formula 1 intellect. People in Britain are proper petrol heads, and racing is in their blood. It's not a coincidence that we have 5 English drivers on the grid this season. Yes, 5, because I include Alex Albon as well, even if he races under the Thai flag. English fans have always had drivers to cheer on, and were able to celebrate the most drivers' champions in the 75-year history of the sport. Most of the teams are based in England, so a factory visit is easy accessible if they want to, and a huge portion of the people working in F1 are British, and that includes the media, even on the official F1 broadcasting. All of them English people creating content for their home fans, with a little bias here and there. So it's completely beyond me why these brainless f***wits found it necessary to be toxic and ruin the event. I've heard that F1 teams were granted 500 tickets to divide amongst their fans, but what happened was that those loyal fans put those expensive tickets up for sale for £200 to £300 each, and that's how these other people got in. I don't want to call them F1 fans. F1 and the teams really need to do something about this for the next event, because this is unacceptable. Maybe do it in the Amsterdam Arena the next time. Everyone loves Amsterdam. I just don't understand why it's needed that a large group of former Mercedes fans switch to Ferrari and act up in the most obnoxious way possible. Don't they realize how spoiled they are? With race winners and a world champion on the grid winning races? As Dutchmen, we try to enjoy the success of Verstappen now, because we know the next Dutch driver might be years away, and chances are that he'll be more like Nick de Vries rather than Max Verstappen. And that's okay. There's no driver from Finland on the grid, because Bottas is Finnish. The Germans only have Nico Hülkenberg, and he's never scored a podium, and at stake he definitely won't. Spain has Alonso and Sainz, but they are stuck in the midfield, and France has Ocon and Gasly in the lower midfield. So yeah, all these countries are happy what they are given when it comes to their talent, and they are not being toxic. And the English fans, they have it all, and they behave like absolute pricks. What the actual fuck? And that's not the only thing that's bugging me. It's the response from the ever so critical media that is another reason why I'm pissed off. Okay, let's address the elephant in the room here. I'm a Dutch Max fanboy here, and some of the Orange Army misbehaved in 2022 at the Austrian Grand Prix. It was reported that groups of drunk people in orange clothes harassed women and cheered when Hamilton crashed. Now, I'm not going to make excuses for those people, as I know exactly what type of people they were. And I don't consider them F1 fans. I consider them festival visitors. Let me explain. Whenever a Dutch team performs well in a sport, it attracts these party people who want to cash in on the happy vibe. Most of the time, this is a great sight to see. The Orange Army at football tournaments doing the go left, go right dance goes viral every few years. These people usually don't even watch football every week, but when there's an opportunity to party, they appear, and most of the time it's fine. If the success stays, then the novelty wears off and the real fans stay. Speed skating is a big sport in the Netherlands, but after dominating that forever, nobody really cares anymore. This is also happening with Max Verstappen, by the way. Zandvoort had to do a lottery system to grant people tickets for the first years, but nowadays they don't even sell out anymore. And with that, the bad apples have left as well. In Austria 2022, the organization allowed people to bring as much booze as they wanted, and that caused most of the problems. I'm glad those days are behind us now. We haven't heard anything negative since then. What I do want to discuss is the media's reaction to this bad behavior. I live on social media and all the big outlets wrote about it, and so did the big pundits. I felt it was a little over the top, as there wasn't this much attention for someone getting stabbed at Silverstone earlier. But I suppose bad fan behaviors should always be discussed and rooted out, right? Lewis Hamilton and Toto Wolff, when they were still an item, had a few things to say about these fans. Hamilton said that he found it mind-blowing that fans would cheer a crash, particularly without knowing the condition of the driver. I'm grateful that I wasn't in hospital, and I wasn't heavily injured, but you should never cheer someone's downfall or someone's injury or crash. That's interesting. I believe some fans cheered when Verstappen crashed at Silverstone, and Verstappen always gets booed there as well. Anyway, all the big outlets like Autosport, Motorsport, Sky Sports F1, etc. repeated these quotes, and I've read a lot of comments saying Dutch fans were the worst. Right. This is what Toto Wolff had to say. The booing is a personal attack on the driver. Fans should just put themselves in the position and that they are standing up there and they are being booed. And I think that's not right for the driver. I don't think that's right. So hopefully we can talk sense. We love the fans, we want them to be there, we want them to be emotional and passionate, but maybe when it gets personal, that shouldn't happen. Well, okay, I agree with him. It should go for every fan base and not just the Orange Army. Mind you, this was right after 2021, when Hamilton and Verstappen had the fight of the century all season. And things spilled over several times. You can't compare that with what's happening now. Verstappen has been untouchable for years now. And besides a few tests with Russell, which was kid stuff really, and a little spat with Norris, there was nothing to be toxic about. The treatment Max got was hating for the sake of hating. And yet, still, these ignorant pieces of shit thought it was fair play to ruin the event. And they didn't face any repercussions from the media. Lewis Hamilton didn't speak up this time, neither did Toto Wolff, neither did any of the media clowns who made a big deal out of the Austria events a few years ago. One well-known writer even praised the organization for blocking out the boost in time rather than condemning the misbehavior of his compatriots. I guess that didn't suit his narrative. Making a new group of fans clad in orange the villains is probably what his readers like best, and he most likely agrees. And this inconsistency is what bugs me the most. Bad behavior should be dealt with, even if it happens in your home country, by fans of the most popular driver. It's this bias that I will create content about every time it happens. I don't care how often I have to repeat myself. Who knows, it might do some good. I made a video about Johnny Herbert and his gambling connections, and he's no longer a steward. And I'm not making this video because I'm worried about Verstappen. Like I said, I'm not worried about Verstappen, as he's been booed so often now. He gets asked about it and he just shrugs it off, saying that he goes home with the winner's trophy and they can all have a nice evening. And that's that. Although today I read that Jos, his father, said that Max had said that if the event is in England again, he'd skip it. He wasn't enthusiastic in the first place, but to get booed by 25,000 people is something he's not warming up to at all. And I can understand that too. It was completely uncalled for. The season hasn't even started yet. There's no beef. Now, I do believe in karma a little. And I'm hoping, just for these bad apples, that they'll see their own driver fail and won't be able to celebrate anything. This is how it's been going for a few years now, to be honest. Verstappen always stays unfazed by it all, and if it would anger him a little, then we'd be in for an even better treat. Callum Nicholas, the head technician at Red Bull, is doing a tour of all the big podcasts in the F1 space to promote his new book. I'd love to have a chat with him too, but my channel's too small. Oh well. He said on the High Performance podcast that Angry Max is the best Max. He explained that in the garage they often have the same vibe and it pushes them even further. So it would be cool if they played the booing before every quali and race after playing the Rolling Stones. 24 poles and 24 wins guaranteed. Those so-called fans will have a terrible season if that happens, and they deserve it. I think I deserve more subscribers. Take care now. Doei doei.